Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Living by Design. And you guys know what to do. Subscribe, like, comment below, and tell me what you guys thought about this episode. So, this episode is my ADHD journey from a kid to an adult. It's been a minute, and I've been going back and forth if I really wanted to really go and dive into this. You know, if you know me personally, and I talk about ADHD all the time, but I never use it as something as um a marketing tool or like a crutch because it is something that affected me since a child. So it's like it's not something that's just new to me. It's not something that I throw around lightly. There's been a lot of pain, there's been a lot of depression around it. And then on top of it, I had a child that also was diagnosed with ADHD at 5, and then was on diagnosed on the autism spectrum at in third grade. Yeah, third grade. And so I'm going to do another video on that later on, talking about, just his journey and transformation and how he's thriving and how it really helped for me to be able to understand what he needs as a child, right? Because I've been there. So, let's really just dive into it because I think this is something that's really affecting people so much. So, this one's kind of like it's fun, but it's like serious at the same time because, I want people to understand that ADHD is a superpower. And all it is, guys, it's a diagnosis, it's not a curse. And it's not a crutch. It is another way to say that you learn differently. It's another way to figure out how to work around your weaknesses and your strengths. And there's so many things that they say other there, they say that ADHD is lack of attention, hyperness, unorganized. I read something about can't keep a job. And I was like, because you probably need to be an entrepreneur, right? Um, there's so much that they say are symptoms of ADHD, but a lot of that stuff is kind of also sensory. And I don't think a lot of people are understanding what sensory issues are. A lot of people I feel suffer from sensory issues. My son was diagnosed with a sensory issue too, a sensory diagnosis on top of all those things. Can you guys imagine? And you know what? He's not even freaking hyper. He's hella chill and he's hella organized and he's hella on top of stuff. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm the same way too, right? I was not good at school as a kid. And I think it's because my parents were really trying to figure out how to really work with me and how to what resources to get. So just to dive into it, I was diagnosed with ADHD probably before 5th grade, probably um maybe around third grade, probably more than that. Like my mom was talking to my mom about it, and she was just like, she kind of got triggered because it was hard. It's difficult as a parent. You're trying to figure out your first child, trying to figure out what's going on. I struggled with reading. I struggled with English, and I do like some hella crazy ass copy now. But I struggled with English, but one of my things was math and science and numbers. So with ADHD, like a lot of people with ADHD, if you work around numbers, because this is what I want you to understand, numbers have to do a lot with consciousness. Numbers have to do a lot with the quantum field. And it's no funny, it's funny that the work that I do specifically around working in the quantum field, like if you guys know, I'm a soul architect, I'm an oracle, I'm a quantum healer, I'm an engineer in the background, a transformative mentor. And so I really get to help people dive in and really see what it is they need to really reframe their mind. I understand it. I understand neuroscience because, to be honest with you, my brain has been being reframed my entire life. You know, I am someone that is very organized. I'm someone who's very disciplined. I get hyper when I'm passionate about something. Like I don't like doing things that I'm not passionate about. And that's something they try to tell you, like, you're unattentive. Like you're unattentive because you're doing something you don't like, right? And when you go to school, different type of schools, like you're really forced to learn things that you don't like, right? And and everybody learns different kind of ways. There's some people who were designed to sit in a classroom and take in like that. For me, I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I'm someone who needs very hands-on. So one of the things that my parents did a lot with was I had tutors. I worked with a tutor since I can remember, kindergarten on. I have one of my favorite tutors was a nun, and I would visit her every Thursday. See, my parents own their own business, so so it was a lot easier for them to take off and really take me to all these places. It was easy for my parents to really kind of be hands on and be like, decide what they're going to focus on in their business. Their mission and their focus was on their family, priority first. So I really am really grateful that I had two parents that were really, really invested in finding the resources for me, which helped me to be very invested to find the resources for my son. So I went every Thursday to work with a nun, and we really did a lot of reframing. When I look at it now on the things that she did with me, um, it really reshaped my mind, really helped me to be uh disciplined. It really helped me to balance who I was. Um, it helped out a lot that my dad's very disciplined. And it helped out a lot that I played a very disciplined sport. I played golf. So golf is like the game of life. You take it one day at a time, right? One hole at a time. So I had a lot of things that were helping me to really reframe my mind. But I want to say when I got to sixth grade and then they went and took me to get retested again, that's when they put me on Adderall, guys. And I took Adderall all the way to like senior year. And I hated Adderall. I really do not understand how people take that for fun. Like, I literally do not understand. I just remember being a Zoid. I just remember not sometimes being my authentic, bubbly self. Like during school time, I was just like, "Mm." I was like, I felt like, you want to know what it felt like? I felt like I was a shell and I was inside, trapped inside my body. That's what it felt like. It felt like I was just trapped. And it was crazy because in the midst of all that, I was really going through an entire spiritual awakening as a child. I've always been a very spiritual person, and very God was very heavy in my life, like emphasis in my life. And this is not to be a video to be like to tell people what they need to do. But I'll be honest with you, like my faith and my faith in who I am has really driven me to get to where I am, to be able to create this podcast, to create the business I do, to create the life that I want, and actually to go back to school and get another master's. I really did not I really did not foresee myself um going back to school again. But let me just tell you guys, like what's crazy is that I let me just tell you what's crazy. You guys, when I started off in college, I thought I wanted to be a dentist like my dad. And I just couldn't handle all of it. Playing sports, being a student athlete. It was too much because it wasn't time. It wasn't time. So I had promised myself that I would go back to school later on. I would focus on design, right? And here I am. I'm really like, I do design and I'm a designer. But I get to do the technical, the cool, the quantum side of design, which is engineering. Like engineers are magicians in the making, if you really want to know. But I was taking medicine once in a while I was in college. I was really trying to figure it out. I was really trying to figure out how I was gonna do school because you guys, like I started off with like a 3.4, 3.5 my freshman year, and then it just went downhill because I decided to change my major and do mass communication Guys, didn't I tell you that English was like my worst subject? And I got out of college, but it was the worst. Like I graduated with like a 2.4 or something like that. But then turned around, went back and got my master's and graduated with like a 3.4, 3.2, 3.4, something like that with my MBA because it was something I was interested in. And then got into an industrial engineer program that I'm in currently right now that I'm finishing up. And so it's like this. And so I was really trying to just figure out everything like in college. And it wasn't until I graduated and I got out into the real world and really kind of just like, you guys saw in my eyes, I'm just like tearing up. Like, I'm not crying about the situation, but there's so much, that comes up to in my past when I think about how far I've come from a kid to an adult with ADHD, and I see all these things, and you have to understand, like, I really did not suffer with depression or have panic attacks until after I had my son. So I can never say that it was because of ADHD. And I feel like a lot of people are having other different symptoms and circumstances because you have to understand, like, back when I was a kid or in my 20s, we didn't have social media. We had MySpace, but we weren't constantly on our phones. Like I didn't have a cell phone until I was like at least 20 years old. So, constantly I was always pretty much dialed in. I didn't have those type of distractions that, everyone else has nowadays as someone who was living with ADHD. So I feel like sometimes I can relate to some people and sometimes I can't. My mind has been going through so much refrain in the last 40 years. I'm different from the average person who is diagnosed with ADHD, and I did the same thing with my son. I really was, did the same thing with him. Like I really do really monitor myself um, on these social media networks. I also monitor myself on only really putting myself in the position to do things I only love, right? And I am someone who is very organized. I'm not the typical person who's unorganized. I know everything's with me. I have to have a process as a system, especially even in my house. So when we come to this, like a lot of people do need medication nowadays. I'm not really a fan of it. I think that, if you get the right support, the right type of help to really help you to really reframe your mindset, really figure out what your soul mission is, because I read something about that they said ADHD is attention dialed into higher dimensions. And I love that. I really do love that because like I just really see them diagnosing more kids every single day and it's really disheartening to me. Like it's really sad to me. I don't like seeing that. I don't like it because now what I see online is people use it as a marketing tool, as a crutch, or you need to do this, or this is you. And some people are trying to relate to this and say this is them. And love, you might just have a sensory issue, or, you're doing something you don't really love. Um, and the school systems that we have now, the school system is crap. I grew up going to private school, so it was totally different, It's just a different type of atmosphere with the teachers that you have in those type of environments. And, I will say that a lot of having the parents I had really made a difference for me, right? And really, to be honest, the person who I am really made a difference, right? Because I could literally sit up here and be like, you guys, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. But I'm not. I'm here telling you that how I went from a kid to adult and I thrive, right? There's so much seen out there of, you know, it's very just trauma filled information. And I felt it was time for me to really get up here and really give my point of view and really show how when you get the right support, the right resources, you can thrive, right? I'm thriving. I thrive and I get to help people really kind of dial in, not even kind of. I get to help people dive in and really figure out what their soul mission is and what it looks like. And then on top of it, I've helped a lot of parents. And not only have I helped a lot of parents, I've had a lot of friends who also have kids on the autism spectrum who have ADHD. And they come to me and they're like, Amber, what do I do? What do I need to do? And I tell them it's diet, it's therapy for the brain. You got to find out what makes your kid tick. There's so many things. And you know what? I probably will do another video or I'll do a podcast talking about some of the things that I use, vitamins and all those type of things for people, because I really want everybody to thrive. I really want people to thrive. So this was really kind of like just a little bit of, maybe I'll go more in depth a little bit more on some of the processes and the resources that I use for me personally as an adult, how I thrive, really to kind of go more into it, more specific. But I really wanted to just share my journey from a kid to adult and how that I'm good. Your kids will be good. And it's nothing to be alarmed about. But if you guys are looking for any type of support, a coach, mentorship, I have 2 different programs that I offer. I have a 5-week transformational coaching program, and I also offer a mentorship called Divine by Design. So if you guys are interested in any of those, reach out to me. I will put all the information down in the links down in the comment section, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, it'll be down in the information about what this podcast is about. So I'll see you guys soon, and thank you for tuning in. Please leave me a comment and let me know how you guys thought about this. What more do you want me to go into about ADHD, just about my journey, and what else I did to transition to the next level. Thank you guys for joining me.